What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Shep's Garage video, and today I want to give my 2 cents on all these rumors about this Golf R that's coming out in 2026 or 2027 that's going to have an RS3 engine. I'm going to give you basically the whole rundown of all these rumors and give my thoughts on them, and I'm basically just going to explain, as what the title says, why I honestly don't think this is honestly going to happen. So without further ado, let's get straight into this video. But first, if you're new to the channel and it's the first time seeing my face on your screen, don't forget to please click that subscribe button. Consider subscribing if you are new to my channel. If you love cars and want awesome car content, I'm trying to become a full-time YouTuber, and I can't do it without your guys' support. Now, let's get back to this video. Now, before I dive deep into all these rumors about this happening, I do want to say a couple of things. First of all, these are all rumors. They're taken with a grain of salt. There's no actual evidence from Volkswagen if this is actually going to happen. Yes, there are the spy car photos that people upload on the internet, but there's no actual physical evidence that this is actually going to happen. That's the first thing. Second thing is, when I make this video, I am not at all hating on this idea of this happening, and actually I am in full support of it. As a Mark 8 GTI owner, this is like my dream come true to have an RS3 Golf. But you know, with some valid points I do want to bring up, to me it just makes sense that I don't think this is really going to happen at all. So let's dive deep into this video. So let's start off with the overview. Now, from multiple sources, there are people saying that in 2026 or 2027, for the 25th anniversary of the Golf R, they are going to be putting the Audi RS3 engine into a Golf R, which is a pretty big deal actually in the Volkswagen Audi community. If you're somehow living under a rock and don't know why the Audi RS3 engine is so special, it's because it's the only turbocharged 5-cylinder engine on the market currently here in the US. I think in the market in the world, actually. It uses a 2.5 liter 5-cylinder engine, and it basically is based on the MQ8 chassis, making it for a much better sounding engine and much more horsepower engine as well, compared to these normal turbocharged 4-cylinder engines that are in the GTI and Golf R currently. For the past many years, since Mark 7 days, people have been swapping the RS3 engine into Mark 7Rs. People do it all the time, and even people sell conversion kits to do it. All you do is you get a Mark 7 or a Mark 8, buy a crashed RS3, and basically swap in the engine and the drivetrain from an RS3, and it's like $60,000 to $80,000 to do something like that. So the fact that there was all these rumors around saying that there is an actual Golf R with a 5-cylinder coming out is a major deal in the Volkswagen Audi community. Like, that's the biggest news ever. However, I honestly don't think it's going to happen. First of all, I don't think Audi will actually let this happen. The Audi RS3 with the engine and with the 5-cylinder engine is something very unique to Audi. And my sense is, I think Audi wants to keep it this way. You know, there are companies that can probably develop their own 5-cylinder, but taking Audi's engine, you know, I think that Audi wouldn't be too happy about that for a few reasons. First of all, this will jeopardize sales for the RS3 entirely. You know, no one will want to buy an RS3 if they put an RS3 in a Golf R, because, you know, why buy a small sedan when you can buy basically a hatchback that you can put more in, and it's just an overall round better car than a small RS3 sedan. We only get the sedan here in the US. If Audi was going to let this happen, they would have already brought the RS3 hatch here by now, and there definitely is a market for super hot hatches, but for whatever reason, Audi just never brought it here to the US. So the fact that, you know, there are all these rumors saying that Audi will bring this engine to the Golf R just doesn't make sense. Audi would have brought the RS3 hatch by now if they wanted to enter this market. The second thing I also want to bring up is how much this would cost. If Audi were to bring the engine, give it to Volkswagen, even though they're part of the same group, if Audi let Volkswagen put it in a Golf R, Imagine the massive price premium that these Golf Rs would be. These would be $60,000, $70,000 cars. Who is going to pay 70 or 80 grand for a one done from the factory when you can just go and buy a 7.5R or an 8R and a crash RS3 and do it yourself for probably less than that, to be honest? It just logically doesn't make sense. I don't know how Volkswagen is going to be sourcing all of these 5-cylinder engines from Audi to put them in these cars. The RS3 is already a limited production car as it is. If you're lucky to walk into an Audi dealership and actually buy an RS3, because they're so in high demand right now. I work at Audi, and anytime we get an RS3 into the dealership, it's an already pre-sold car. So imagine how Volkswagen is going to source these 5-cylinders. It just doesn't logically make sense. And to have Audi basically jeopardize the sales of their own RS3, that also just doesn't make sense either. Audi probably wants to keep the RS3 its little own kind of class of car, and you know, while yes, it could definitely happen, it logically just doesn't make sense. If for whatever reason this actually does happen, it probably won't be a very high production car. It would probably either be a limited production car, is what I think, kind of like the Golf R32. That was kind of like the last special Golf R we got here, and that was a limited to 5,000 car, and it had the VR6 in it. So something tells me if Audi and Volkswagen did this together, if Volkswagen actually created a 5-cylinder Golf R, it would probably be like a very, very limited car, and they would charge probably 70 or 80 grand for it, is my personal opinion. So in all truth to be told, I don't think this 5-cylinder Golf is going to happen, but I'm not going to dispute that Volkswagen isn't going to come out with a faster Golf R. There are all these pictures going around of this Golf R going around the track, and it's white, and it has this upgraded aero on the front. It has like all these cool vents in the hood, and around the back it's even more aggressive. You know, obviously I'm throwing up some pictures while I say all this, but you guys kind of get my point. You know, there's obviously this Golf R roaming around being tested, and I'm not disputing that Volkswagen isn't developing a faster Golf R. In my opinion, there is most likely definitely a market for a faster hot GTI or hot Golf R, is what I meant to say. There's definitely a market for fast hot hatchbacks or super hot hatchbacks, and I definitely think that Volkswagen is definitely creating a rival to the RS3, for example. However, I don't think it's going to be using the 5-cylinder engine. In order for this type of car to compete with the RS3, I think it's still going to use the same 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that, you know, these GTIs and Golf Rs have been using for a very long time now. However, I think it's going to have better internals and going to have a bigger turbo, and I think this car will have the exact same engine. It's going to have probably a more stripped out interior, you know, bolstered seats, you know, bucket seats, more carbon fiber, bit less weight inside, and I think this car will push close to the 400 horsepower range. Somewhere in that bracket is where I think this car, new Golf R, will produce. All in all, if Volkswagen does what I'm thinking, if they still use the same engine, they're still going to be kind of almost cutting costs, but still putting out an RS3 rival. And even better, they're also going to keep this car in a much more makes sense price bracket. So in my opinion, I think this new hot Golf R will start in the round 60, 65-ish range, which would make sense because it is like around $10,000 more than the current Golf R that we already have. So that is what I think about these RS3 swap Golf R rumors. Now, if this RS3 swap Golf R actually does happen, then, you know, I will probably look like a fool in this video for saying all this. However, if it doesn't happen and they actually do what I predicted, then I think this video would look pretty cool. Now, if this RS3 swap Golf R does actually happen, which me personally, I think would be pretty cool if it happened, but I also don't think it will happen. if it actually does happen, mark my words on this, I will replace it with my Mark 8 GTI. I will sell my GTI, a car I said I would never sell, and I would buy it 100%. You can hold me to it, mark my words on that. And that is this video done. So thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below what you guys think about these rumors. Do you think they are true? Do you think it's actually gonna happen? I'd like to hear in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.